What's going on? Respect the Hedges family and Dog Nation, man. We are here for the start of season 3 of Respect the Hedges, man. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, so let's go ahead and get into it.
Georgia on the logo, celebrating back-to-back Nats. Perfection wears red and black tonight. 15-0. The Dogs have done it and won a second consecutive national.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Not again.
Lead flicker to get the night started. Downfield looking for Godwin. Into his hands. And guess which Dogs are barking first? Uga, get after it.
Sonny Michel will send the Dogs home to the championship game.
And Bobo throws that thing in the end zone and
Yes! Touchdown! Touchdown in the goal line!
Sigue Ringo. Corta dentro. Ringo. Touchdown! Georgia!
The Georgia Bulldogs bludgeon their way to back-to-back. Glory, glory, Georgia, as the fight song says.
This is our love for each other. 1 + 1 = what? 3. We are better together and we are connected.
This is Robert Iron E. Singleton, a.k.a. D-Dog from The Walking Dead, or Alton from The Blind Side, and you are watching Respect the Hedges on the Fan Addict Sports Network. All right, guys, go Dogs, sick 'em.
That's right, family. It's the Fan Addict Sports Network. We bringing you Respect the Hedges season 3, man. We're not going to belabor the point, man. Hey, we're going to go ahead and get this thing started, man. But as always, you know, we brought to you by the Tailgate Kings. What's going on? So for those that are new to the Respect the Hedges, man, let me bring in all of the co-hosts and give them the proper introduction, man. First up, man, we got a former wide receiver from UGA. He also was a double dog. He actually was on the track team as well. This dude averaged over 10 yards a catch while in Athens. Let's bring on my boy, Thad Parker. What's going on, Shawty?
What up, man? What's happening?
Hey, glad to be back at season 3. Season 3 is upon us.
And I want to look, Coach. I want everybody to know too. Like we don't say in the past, ever since we've been doing this show, we've been winning natties, man. So let's go. Let's want to keep this streak.
That's right, man. We want to keep this streak going, man. 2 seasons, 2 natties. We want to keep it going, get this 3-peat, man. Next up in the building, man. As y'all know, man, lately we just been on a tear, whether it be the tight ends that play for UGA, the recruiting. We just got some of the best in the business, man. And this was one of the guys that got it started back in the day. Former tight end for the University of Georgia, Mr. Jevaris Johnson. What's going on, JV?
Fellas, my people, what's happening? Hey, listen, glad to be back, man, in the building. Like Shawty said, man, ever since we've been doing this, we've been winning natties. Man, why not go ahead and go put some respect on it so we can go ahead and get the trifecta going? We want 3. Let's get it. Let's talk about it. Let's do it. Welcome the rest of the family in, and let's have a great ride along the way.
That's right, man. And listen, UGA is known for some of the best fans in the land, man. This dude, the next co-host, he's the coolest UGA fan of them all, man. Go way back with some of the co-hosts. This my man, Cool Cal. What's going on, Cool Cal?
Fellas, what it do, man?
Cool.
What up, man? Listen, man, bless, man. And think about, man, how fast, man, we already on year 3 of this thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been a great ride so far. The show's been fun. The show's been exciting. Also educational. And like D said, man, let's go after this third one, man. I know that the difference is it'll be funny to go back and watch the first show we did and to see what type of expectations we had versus now being king of the hill, you know what I'm saying, and expecting to go out there and win versus just thinking we can. So I'm excited, man. You know, I don't think it's a coincidence. We've been on the show 2 years. We done won the last 2 national championships. Let's keep this thing rolling.
That's right, man. Good points there. It will be good. We definitely gonna have to do a show where we show some clips from the first couple of shows, and our attitudes definitely have changed, man. Kirby say either we elite or we not, so we got to bring it every week, man. And the last of the co-hosts for the night, man. Listen, everybody knows this guy, man. He's a former wide receiver for UGA. He's in the same recruiting class as Kirby Smart. Hey, let's go ahead and bring him on in, Mr. Corey Allen. What's going on, CA?
Celebration mode, man. You know, I'm just excited to be back. I'm glad to see the whole team, aside from having E-Rob in the place. Good to see the fellas, you know, because as usual, man, I'm the least prepared, but the most to say, man. I got a lot to say, but I ain't did no homework. So I'm leaning on y'all to come with the facts. But, you know, year 3, I mean, we can't ask for too much more as far as the first 2 years. And, you know, all we want to do is keep this ball rolling. So we're going to continue to critique at a high level, to the highest degree, without crossing the line. But at the same time, if we have to, we're going to have to, baby. So let's get it, boys. Glad to see y'all.
That's right, man. Listen, man, we got a full slate tonight, man. We may even run over a little bit, man, but we're going to try to get it all in tonight, man. We're going to bring back the start bench cut courtesy of my guy, Cool Cal. We're going to talk about the SEC Network documentary, Them Dolls. We're going to talk about SEC Media Days, some UGA hot topics, recruiting, and we're going to start a little player spotlight so y'all can get to know some of the UGA players, some even that don't get that notoriety that like a guy such as Brock Bowers or Malachi Starks gets, man. So we're going to get into this thing, man. As we do always, we're going to shout out some of the dogs. Y'all already know who first up in the building, man.
Yes,
First lady.
That's right.
How you doing, Shep?
Go Dogs, 3P. She said, congratulations on season 3. That's right, man. Time flies when you're having fun, man. It is crazy. We on season 3 of this thing already, man. The stat guy in the building, South Carolina fan, but shows UGA some love outside of when he's trying to say that they're going to beat us. He said, SEC Media Day week.
What did he say? See it?
Yeah, unofficial start to the season. You know what I'm saying? I got AP in the building, man.
What's
Antonio
up,
Pot, what's going on, Pot, man? What's going on? Mike Free in the building, man. Say go Dogs.
Go
That's
Dogs.
Right, hey, man, we about to get this thing rolling, man. Let's go start this thing with a start bench cut, man. Start bench cut.
Oh, man, here y'all go. I ain't
Listen, Cool Cal gave us our targets here, and we Cool Cal added a new category: start, bench, cut, and get out of here. You know what I'm saying? So we got 4 people now. So we're going so this topic is most impactful freshman on a championship team. So remember that when you're doing your start bench cut. You got Brock Bowers for Dolls, of course. Derek Stingley, the cornerback from LSU in 2019. You got Maurice Carrette from Ohio State, the running back from Ohio State, and Trevor Lawrence, quarterback from Clemson in 2018. We're going to give Mr. C time to think about it. So we're going to start with you.
No, don't do that. No, wait a minute. Hold up, Coach. Since you don't put me on the spot like I can't have it. Yeah, exactly. Don't do that to me now. Let me get this off while it's hot.
All right, go ahead with your start bench cut, CA.
I think I'm gonna have to start the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. I'm gonna put Maurice Claret on my bench. I'm cutting Brock Bowers, and Stingley can get the hell out of here, man. You know, I'm just going by importance of position. To be honest with you, the quarterback gets the ball the most. I love Brock Bowers, but somebody got to get it to him. And I did watch Maurice Claret lead that team. Much as I hated on what they did, he done that. So, you know, I'm not going to take away from what I saw. That's my start bench cut. I'm going to be short and sweet tonight.
There it is, man. I like it. See, I like the analogy and the criteria. I like it. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in here, man. So I don't forget what I'm gonna say, man. Listen, I'm gonna start Maurice Claret because I do remember what he did in that Ohio State championship, and I do feel like they had some subpar quarterback play in that game. In that year, to be honest with you, they had a lot of close calls, and if it wasn't for him, I don't know if they'd have made it. I'm benching Trevor Lawrence because, like CA said, the quarterback is the guy that runs the show. I'm cutting Mr. Brock Bowers while we definitely need him, and we're going to need him on this 3-peat. somebody, like you say, got to get him the ball. And I'm with you, man. Like, hey, man, Stingley got to get the hell out of here. So I'm in and out with mine. What's up, Cool Cal? It's your category, dog. What you got on the start bench? Cut and get out of here.
I'll say that I like both of you guys' answers, but I'm gonna follow up with you, Coach. I like what you said about Claret. I think years ago, what he did in those tight ball games, I remember him scoring a lot of late touchdowns, and doing some things to take them over the top. Because none of us, if we're honest with, none of us know who his quarterback was at the time. You know, I can't think of any other guys on that team. I'm sure they had some good guys, but I do remember him time and time again coming up in the clutch and making big plays. So I'm gonna start him, and I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, man. I'm gonna put Brock on the bench. I think that when we go back and look at that time, I do know somebody has to get him the ball, but there wasn't generally one person on this panel, one person in America that thought that we could win with a backup quarterback. I thought, as far as Stetson's development, I thought he was very important along the way, helping Stetson develop those last 2 years. And so I'm gonna go ahead and bench Brock with that. And I'm gonna go with Trevor Lawrence. I'm gonna cut him and Stingley get the hell out just because of the importance of the position. Maybe if LSU didn't have the best offense of all time, and maybe they had a couple more close games, maybe his importance would have been a little bit higher, even though he had a great season. But that's what I'm gonna go with. Claret, Brock, Lawrence, and Stingley.
There it is, man. We got our guy Thad back, man. We're gonna go with JV next. JV, man, who you starting, who you benching, who you cutting, and who you telling to get the hell on.
Oh, this is a no-brainer.
Let me just go ahead and just let y'all know, man. I'm extremely disappointed in all of y'all.
I saw this coming a mile away.
Let me let y'all know something right now, okay? That boy Brock Fowler is a once in a generational athlete at that tight end position. I mean, it ain't like we ain't seen that kind of stuff before at Georgia, but to this degree, that is a once in a generational lifetime type of talent at tight end. But to kind of go against the grain, I'm not going to start it because what I do agree with is the fact that Maury Claret did his thing during that run. I'm going to start Claret because I just appreciated what he did that much as a freshman on that team, too. I mean, it's not like he was a 2 and 3 year guy. He was a first-year starter on that team with, again, a bunch of folks who you can't even remember. Maybe because his star was that bright. But I got to go with Claret. Then I'm going to put my boy Brock on the bench. Because if Claret go down, if Claret get a hammy, you know you can hand that thing off to Brock, man. Y'all better quit playing with him, man. Don't be disrespectful on this show this season, fellas. Let's not start the season off like this. I'm just letting y'all know Brock can do it all. He might take the snap from under the center. He'll called on him, okay?
Okay.
If we talking about who we gonna cut, I'm gonna cut Lawrence and Stingley to the same points that Cal laid out so eloquently. I'm gonna have to have him get the hell out of here because their offense at LSU during that 2019 season was just phenomenal. You couldn't stop it, and realistically, they would have outscored you even if they was outscoring you by 42 to 41. So that's my lineup, fellas. But I'm still disappointed.
Why would you be disappointed at me? We had the same list.
And I said, fellas, you know, I guess
hit dog
that bad right there. I like that one.
Hey, shout out to Paul. Hey, what's going on, Pete? Baby man, he say, "What's up, Pete?" He in the Dallas Fort Worth airport. Hey, we're gonna try to keep you waiting before you get on that flight, my guy. So, hey, listen up, man. Thad, you on deck, dog. Who you starting? Who you benching? Who you cutting? And who you telling get the hell on?
Man, I hate I missed everybody kind of explanation because I'm kind of scared to give my list out listening to JV.
Do you think?
But I'm not sure if I remember the question right, but I thought it was like freshman, most impactful freshman on the championship team.
That's right.
So we talking about 1 year, their freshman year, correct?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, correct. Right. I know where you're going with it.
So I'm gonna roll with this guy right here, who I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna start Trevor. because Trevor came in and beat out a starting quarterback they previously thought was going to start, who was behind Deshaun Watson for a few years. And then he had that kind of like tour over Hurts effect. He just took him to another level. And that's what the coach saw. That's why he was able to start the kid, and they went on to win the national championship, and the rest is done. So I'm going to go with Trevor as my starter. And the next person is going to be Claret. I mean, just at the running back position at that particular time to be able to, it was kind of more of a run-heavy game. The kid came in and rushed for 1,200 yards, helped the team win the national championship. I mean, as a freshman, I think that was something. He broke a record that hadn't been done in 7 years. The last person to do it was the guy that played in Nebraska in 1995. I can't think of his name.
Lawrence.
So that was Lawrence Phillips. Might have been Phillips, yeah. So in terms of impact as a freshman, I mean, that was very, very critical. So I'm going to go ahead and put that guy on the bench. And the third guy,
be careful.
JV said, "Be careful."
JV, he gonna fight you now.
I'm gonna go with my boy Brock Bowers. I'm gonna put Brock Bowers on the bench, and it has nothing to do with his athletic prowess or nothing like that. It just playing the tight end position as great as he is. I just don't know on that particular team he had the impact. Without his impact, I still don't think we lose any games. So that's the only reason. As impactful as he was, and as great as he is, all-time great Georgia tight end, all-time great Georgia player. Just based on this question, I'm gonna have to put him on bench because of the position and the impact he had on the national.
You mean you cut him? You cut him.
I mean, cut. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Cut. And Stingley got to get the hell on. I ain't gonna even go into that.
Yeah. Hey,
that's a good list, Dad.
That was a good list. Everybody got their opinion. I think JV gonna hold that for some fuel later on in the season.
I'm have to go back and watch the list, man. I missed.
Yeah, man. But hey, good stuff, Cool Cal. He gonna keep bringing that to us every week, man. Before we get to the next one, man, I just want y'all to know, man, our guy Shawty got his own show. It's called My Damn Opinion, man. Y'all make sure to check him out on Wednesday nights at 8:30, man. Every Wednesday night, live at 8:30. Y'all check him out. Go subscribe to the channel. Tune in and give your damn opinion. That's right. What it is. All right, man. Next up, man, listen, them dogs. I don't know if y'all all got a chance to see it, man, but yesterday SEC Network dropped that documentary about them dogs and their run on their quest for a repeat. Cool Cal, you checked it out?
I actually did. I did.
Ooh. You got if you don't, it's gonna be replaying on the SEC Network. Make sure you get into that. Thad, you watched that documentary yesterday?
Of course, man. Anything else would be uncivilized.
Tell him about it, man.
You know he overachiever. You know he saw it. He done watched it twice already.
You think ESPN did us right? Gave us our just to. Tell us your thoughts on them dogs.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. Me being who I am. Like most of these guys, we're kind of close to the university, so most of those things that went on. We kind of already knew about, but it was just cool to see the way that it was edited. I thought the way that it was edited was awesome. And everything I saw in there, it was just kind of just a testament of, the hard work that we had put in. I can't wait to see the next one. We already a year behind. I wish they could have rolled them back to back.
Oh, well, they did, because me and JV was talking about it, and they actually had one called Year of the Dog that they did last year. It actually aired right after them dogs. So they did one for last year and they did one for this year. So I'm ready for the movie though. I want the whole movie. Right. I want 2 hours. I don't need an hour. JV, what'd you think?
We need 3 hours to account for this one. Let's talk about it.
JV, what'd you think of them dogs on the SEC Network?
Hey man, like Thad said, since we so close to the program, a lot of this wasn't new. I don't think that what they showed was something that we couldn't imagine happening in the locker room, because we heard snippets already from some of the speeches that Kirby had given anyway. But I just love seeing the dogs on TV. I love the Dogs being prime time. I love the world watching the Dogs while they sitting around clamoring at the fact that they ain't us. Quick story, Coach. We I think we were flying into San Diego on the plane, man, and there was quite a few people on there with Dog fans, and I'm repping this, of course, like I always do with my hat. So I get up, young lady said, "Oh, y'all went to Georgia." She was like, "Go Dogs." Guy sitting next to her has on an Auburn pullover.
Just for you.
So this guy with this Auburn pullover commences to say, "This team money can buy." So of course, I had to give him a little bit. I just had to let him know, well, if y'all had money, if y'all quit spending money on coaches, y'all could maybe pay some players. Right.
I like it.
I like it. Listen, go Dogs, man. I love to see our Dogs on prime time. Love to see it. I actually watched both of them back to back. And so, guys, man, it's a good watch. That's it. That's all I got. Good watch.
Yeah, man. CA, I don't know if you had a chance to check it out or see on the timeline of people talking about it. Did you get a chance to check it out?
I did not. I look forward to it. I'm listening to everyone else make the comments about it, so I'll add my 2 cents later. But what I do know about is being around fans who might not have that same appreciation. Right now, I mean, you see my arm hanging over the ledge. I'm on the balcony. I'm sitting on the beach. I'm down here in Emini. I'm in Emini territory out here. I'm down here in Emini territory, but I tell you what, it's a lot of people wearing orange that can't stand me right now. I got my I'm gonna do my thing, and they hating on us, but it's respectable. They understand that what we do is what they would like to do. What we have done is what they wish they could accomplish, and this program is in such a strong position. We just want to see it continue so that these fans around me can continue to remain humble as I walk these halls, as I trod these grounds, because they know that we do have that #1 program. So I'm just extremely proud of where we sit right now.
That's right, man. Listen, when y'all get a chance to watch it, of course, the highlight to me of the video was the Tennessee game. Hendon Hooker comes out, and I get it, man. He's a leader of his team. He's got to hype them up. He said, their time is over. It's our time now. And then we commits to beating them down. I love that footage because that's the only thing of the whole documentary that I hadn't seen before. But I was like, I appreciate y'all showing us that.
Humble pie tastes nasty.
Eating them words in front of that crowd, man. But overall, like I say, man, both documentaries are good. Y'all get a chance, man. The SEC Network is definitely airing out that them Dogs this week. I want to say every other day, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go on to the next topic there, man. Shawty, I guess you're having some technical difficulties. So along those lines, man, the unofficial start of football season is the SEC Media Days. Everybody, even people that's not in our conference, talk about it. Coach Kirby Smart was up on deck today, and I know I got a chance to watch. I know y'all doing some work stuff. Did y'all get a chance to check that out today? JV?
Yes, sir.
You did?
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
You know it. So I was working, and I had him in the background. It was a couple of things he said. Look, man, Kirby, if he don't know how to do nothing, he know how to work the crowd. I can tell you that. So I thought that they was gonna hit him with more questions about the whole speeding thing, but he handled that like a champ, like a pro, like he always do. One thing, Kirby Smart's 84 win percentage in the first 7 years is the best in SEC history for a coach for their first 7 years. I'm like, that's the first stat that they put up while he was being introduced. I said, if Kirby ain't out here breaking records, he say you either elite or you're not. So shout out to Coach Smart and the way he's got our program rolling right now. But one of the things I want to talk about, he talked about the cost of leadership. So he said there's 3 costs of leadership. And this was right before, because I think he knew that they was about to ask him about, how he's handling the program and things of that. He said the 3 costs of leadership, it says you will have to make hard decisions that will negatively affect people that you care about. He said, but all good leaders have to do that. He said, number 2, you will have to you will be disliked despite your best attempt to do the best for the most. And the third thing he said, you will be misunderstood and won't always have a chance to defend yourself. I'm like, everything that comes with
he
being
need to
a
put
good
that
leader.
on a shirt. That hurt a little bit. I ain't seen the doc, man. You know, damn.
Yeah. So JV, just give me your thoughts on Kirby at the podium, man, and things that you might have took away from that.
Coach, I'm gonna tell you, that was one of the segments while Kirby was speaking that really not just stuck out to me, it jumped out to me because he immediately kind of took a lot of things off the table, and he's 100% right. Number one, man, let me just go ahead and give Coach Kirby Smart a slow clap, man, because the man is phenomenal at the way that he works the media, the way that he demands the conversation, and the way that he drives the point. When he said those three things about leadership, he actually kind of deferred it to the players that he had in the building with him, basically saying that these guys all exhibit the traits and the examples of great leaders and great leadership. But I also know that when he said that, man, he was definitely talking about the way that he runs this program, the way that people question him, the way that people will look at him and say, well, he's doing this, or you have things coming out in the AJC that's, completely asinine in nature. So, this man realistically threw out three things, and I had never really heard it put like this before, but I'm going to have to keep that with me moving forward because that's the mark. Actually, it's almost the mark of a man when you look at it and you raising children. That's how you always end up. You end up making hard decisions. You end up disliked, and you end up misunderstood without being able to really explain yourself. Really, I don't want to explain myself. Definitely will. I don't want to explain myself. It is what it is. But definitely, man, when he said that, man, that was as prolific a speech that I had or talking points that I had heard on the stage all SEC weekend. And just shout out, man, to the SEC network by putting us in the game with that broadcast because I felt like I was sitting in the front row. Man, that was phenomenal.
Big time. So listen, Cool Cow, did you get a chance to check out, you or Thad or CA, y'all check out some of them SEC media days today?
Nah, me and CA didn't.
All right, Thad. Oh, Thad. So what, hey man, give us your thoughts overall on the media days and Coach Kirby Smart, and even something we got a little bit of Brock Bowers in there too.
I didn't really catch a lot of it, man, but I did catch some of it. As always, he has learned from the best, man. He handled himself very well with all the questions that were asked to him. It was good that he was able to get out in front of some of the things that they had asked him to try to trip him up. But once again, he's one of the best. I mean, so not only is he a great coach, he's a great media guy. He's a great recruiter. All those things ties into everything. But one thing that I heard that I was actually kind of shocked to hear, and I hate to talk about them because they slobbering. But I was impressed with Hugh Freeze, man. I really was.
Yeah, I actually watched some of Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze got up there and said, hey, man, I think when I was in the SEC, I was a pretty good play caller. He's like, but when I came back, I knew the task ahead of me at Auburn and I needed some help. He was talking about his OC, offensive coordinator. So I was like, not a lot of head coaches going to admit they, I guess, I ain't going to say they faults or they shortcomings or whatever. He was like, so I was like, look at Hugh Freeze trying to win the media day. I was like, who knows what he's saying afterwards, but look at him trying to win the media day.
He learned a lot at Liberty, didn't he? In that way.
Yeah, his time away from the SEC, man. And there's a couple other things Kirby said, man, that stuck with me, man. Kirby has 26 UGA grads on staff. Kirby said Kirby trying to lock this thing down, man. If you ain't a UGA grad, you make a misstep. We're gonna replace you with one. So 26 grads on staff. I don't know if any staff in the nation can say they have that many alumni on their staff. So kudos to Coach Smart for employing the dogs.
Hey, look, as a player that sits in that locker room, when you see that builds confidence. That lets you know that this family is not a lie. We're not just hiring random individuals we don't have any background information on. These guys have been vetted not just because of what they can do professionally, but because of their affiliation with the University of Georgia. That will always be important because that is the pipeline of recruiting. That's how we build this thing. So I'm glad to see it. I didn't know that fact. I appreciate the information. I will be using it forward.
That's right. Shelby says she watched Cedric Van Pran, who also impressed her. He addressed the issues well. I didn't get a chance to catch them, but like I said, I caught some of Brock Bowers. Brock actually played quarterback on his high school team when he was in the ninth grade JV team. He played quarterback. He said he wasn't that great at quarterback. And then his sophomore year, but they ran a triple option. That goes to JB's start bench cut, saying that you could bring in Brock if Maurice goes down. So, but he was the quarterback on the triple option team. In his 10th grade year, they was 0-10, and then his junior year, he moved full time to tight end, and they went to the play. Won the division, went to the playoffs, and he had 1,500 receiving yards.
You know what? He couldn't block at quarterback. That was the issue. He could do everything but block. They're like, we need you to block and catch and run. So
that's right, man. So SEC Media Days always provide a little insight that you might not have known going into the season. It kind of kicks the season off, man. All right, man. Let's move on to some of the UGA hot topics, man. So speaking of Mr. Brock Bowers, man, one of the hot topics is Mr. Brock Bowers the best tight end draft prospect ever? Now, you know, we can go off of rankings or whatever, but there's been a lot of good tight ends to come through, man. Is he the best ever? So just to give y'all some of the company you would keep when you're talking about this, the top 5 tight ends, according to when they got drafted in what position. Erik Robinson from UNC got drafted number 10 in 2014. TJ Hawkinson from Iowa got drafted at number 8 in 2019. Kellen Winslow Jr. got drafted number 6 in 2004, and Vernon Davis got drafted number 6 in 2006. And the highest drafted tight end ever was Kyle Pitts from Florida in 2021 at number 4. So now that you know the company that he keeps, CA, what's your opinions on Mr. Brock Bowers being the best NFL draft prospect ever?
At the tight end position, I don't think so. I think Vernon Davis because of that elite speed. But not to be long-winded, it's going to depend on how he's used when he gets to the Sunday test. But, you know, he'll be comparable as far as, you know, your short drills and his ability to catch and impact the play on passing downs. But I think when you look at the overall package, I think Vernon Davis was probably, because of the speed, made him a little bit more elite. There have been bigger tight ends, but he's so much. He brings so much versatility to the table that I'm sure JB is going to expand on. I think he'll be comparable, but he won't be the best.
I got you. All right, cool, Cal. Hey, what you thinking, man? Mr. Brock Bowers, best NFL draft prospect at tight end position ever.
I kind of agree with what CA was saying. Because when we talk about prospect, we have to go outside the lines of not just what we've seen on the field. We got to see how their game translates, size, speed, strength, and those things factor into the prospect as well. And looking back on it, you brought up some great names. Back in the day, at that particular time, to me, it was Kellen Winslow. I thought he was something different. You know, the way that he moved, his size, how big he was. How he caught the ball so effortlessly. To me, as far as a prospect, I would probably say him. But as far as obviously the best player at tight end, I think it is Brock. But as far as, you know, like I said, as far as a prospect and all those other intangible things that CA was mentioning, I would go with Kellen Winslow.
Okay, Shawty, what you got on this topic?
Well, I actually agree with both of these guys, but I think for me, Cal kind of, but actually both of them, Cal hit it on the head. Like, I think Brock's the better player. I think he has the body control that I don't think none of the guys that you mentioned even have. The way that this guy can high point the ball is just I haven't seen from a tight end before. But then CA said something that was very important too. It's going to kind of boil down to what Brock Bowers run in the 40. I don't think it's going to be quite as fast as Vernon. And Vernon was also a physical freak too. I mean, he wasn't the tallest, but he was also just a physical freak. So just from, a prospect standpoint, that's the question. Vernon Davis to me still is probably the better prospect when you look at it on paper. But as on film, I would go Brock Bowers.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and throw my 2 cents in before we let the resident tight end go and say what he gonna say.
You better get yours in.
That's right. I kind of with CA at that, like I say, and a little bit on Cal. Like I say, I think Vernon Davis and Kellen Winslow. I think Kellen Winslow kind of changed what we thought about tight ends. You know what I'm saying? Like the athleticism that he showed that he could line up outside, whereas we always kind of thought of it as an inline position. But Vernon Davis, just because of his all-around ability coming out to inline block, I think, like Thad said, that Brock can track the ball basically like none of these guys can. When it comes to inline blocking, he has great technique, but his size is the deciding factor between him and Vernon Davis, I would say, because Vernon was a little bit bigger and a little bit faster. But I definitely think Brock is, especially when you get down to the numbers. When you get down to the numbers, it's all Brock. If you're just talking about numbers, it's not even a contest. But I would say the best prospect, because you go off of what you think. I think Vernon Davis was that. And now we're gonna give the floor to Mr. Jevaris Johnson.
So I'm just halfway disappointed in y'all right now. But I'm not gonna hold that against you guys, because I know we got to keep the show exciting and we can't just all be homers like me. I'll say this: Kellen Winslow, he was a phenomenal athlete, but the Miami Hurricanes of that day, they had tight ends that were different than you had seen before with Jeremy Shockey, Kellen Winslow. They kind of start ushering in those tight ends that were doing those hybrid roles, splitting out a lot and catching the ball, being dynamic, big body guys with speed. I can't disagree about the whole Vernon Davis speed thing. I mean, the guy ran a 4.3. He was strong as an ox, built like bull. But I'm gonna look at what I'm seeing, and as a prospect, I'm looking at some of these guys that you guys named before, and they didn't pan out. I don't think that it's gonna be really a team in the NFL that can't use the Brock Bowers skill set, because he does a lot extremely well. And we're not talking about just inline blocking. We're not just talking about going out and catching a 5-yard out. The only guy in this list that can catch a ball and take it 73 yards on the end around is going to be Brock Bowers and Vernon Davis, period. The only guy that's going to catch a tight end dump, get hit by 2 folks, and then take it another 45, 50 yards is going to be Brock Bowers and possibly Vernon Davis, because I think that Brock Bowers has a better center of gravity and a better balance skill set than any of those guys that have been thrown up in his class. Listen, man, the guy from Napa Valley who sips wine while he takes people's tears is going to be my best prospect of all time. I'm going to let you guys know this. You look at his gaudy numbers. You look at what he's accomplished on teams that have had a lot of talent. And to Shawty's point, I done heard him say this plenty of times, Brock Bowers is the best player, possibly the best player on the best 2 teams that we've ever had at our university. I gotta go with this guy. I gotta lead with this guy. I think that Kyle Pitts was a phenomenal athlete, but Kyle Pitts did not do well inside them trenches. Not to say that Brock Bowers is blowing people off like Big O, but he's completely adequate. Yeah. So I'm going to go with him, and I'm going to let him be my number 1. Yes, sir, of all time.
Okay. Hey, it's like I said, it's a draft prospect. Hey, CA, you got any rebuttal to that, or you agree with that?
None at all. I mean, that man knows the position better than anybody on this call. Who am I to sit here and tell a tight end about tight ends? He saw what he saw, and I'm just here to witness it. I ain't watch no film outside of the game.
Hey, JB got some great points. And like you say, Kyle Pitts of the group of being the highest drafted, Brock Bowers' numbers blows him out. Kyle Pitts only wins in the average yards per catch. His last year, like I say, he went crazy for over 18 yards a catch. But Brock ain't far behind with 15 plus. Everything else is like you say, he blocks better than Kyle Pitts. Don't even block. I mean, let's just be honest.
But I think Vernon Davis a better prospect than Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I do too.
I think physically Vernon Davis was different. You know what I'm saying? And like you say, running that 4.3. But Brock brings a lot to the table. I think you could have lined Vernon Davis up in the backfield. I don't think Maryland was asking him to do that, but we've seen Brock do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a little bit different. Hey, all good opinions and takes on that. But
hey,
like
man, hold on real quick. Can we please ask Stat Guy to quit mentioning Jared Cook? Can we please?
Listen, the fact that you gave him airtime for that, listen, he be trying to tell me that I saw it. I wasn't gonna acknowledge it. Though. We talking about great tight ends, and if we was going, you know what I'm saying? So we mentioning people that ain't great.
Hey, no disrespect, man. I actually like Jared Cook. He's a very respectable guy, very respectable tight end, built a great career. But
I'm glad you said that because I was going to go somewhere.
Yeah. I like Jared Cook, but he ain't in this class of guys that we talking about. So that's
close.
See, look,
it's
that guy, listen, he baited you, and you said something about Jared Cook. Don't take that guy serious when he doing that.
Hey, man, he a tight end, so I give him some love. I shot him a few balls on man.
All right, man. Listen, next topic. So this was going around just on social media. Then On3, the recruiting site, put it out as a question. Somebody posed, is George Pickens the most talented wide receiver that come through UGA? And like I say, at first I was just going to let it go because it was this social media. But then On3 posted it. I'm like, so they really out here taking this question serious. So I'm gonna let CA jump in this thing first, man, because him and Thad played this thing on position, and I know they got more to say about it.
Can I defer to Thad on this one? I don't want to do this. Thad,
hey, man,
come on.
One
Thad,
thing we're gonna
work
defer
out
to
for me,
Thad,
babe.
but and Thad known to keep it real out here, man. Listen, we a dog show. We all for dogs, but we also keep it real on this show. So Thad, is George Pickens the best wide receiver to come through? Talented, not best, most talented.
Most talented. In my opinion, I'm gonna say no.
Okay. So you got that's what you want to leave it at.
If you just want to say, and it's once again, I don't want to be so analytical because when you talk about talented, I mean, it's hard to go against Hines Ward. I mean, when you talk about talent, the guy did it all: receiver, punt returner, kick returner, running back. He also played quarterback. So I mean, you talking about talented. I mean, how can you not say Hines Ward? I mean, I can even go with another guy. I mean, I would even say AJ Green. Like now, he has the best body control, route running ability for any guy I've seen over 6'3". Period. So when you just talking about playing the game and being a receiver, you're talking about talented. I mean, I would just have to say no. I mean, I don't want. I'm not. It's not like I'm bashing. I don't want to say I'm bashing anyone. I'm just saying, just in my opinion. Yeah. No, I mean, Hines Ward by far would be the most talented.
I got you. Hey, CA, you're gonna have to speak on it now. You got to speak on it.
Put some light on your face.
I'm gonna start. You see me trying to hide a little bit. No, I'm gonna just say that question is stupid to me. I don't only because.
That's what I want to say.
It's based on, I don't know what it's based on. But when I look at the most talented, I mean, I can go Hines, I can go Terrence, I can go.
Thank you.
Andre Hastings. I mean, we already mentioned Adre. I mean, exactly. I can combine receivers.
That question got you bothered.
Exactly. I don't want to. I'm trying to figure out where this comes from because I know he made some plays. I respect what George Pickens gave, a great receiver in his own right. But man, Fred Gibson was raw. I mean, we've had so many. Reggie Brown. I don't want to go down. Damian Gray. I'm not going to leave anybody out because it all is based on attempts and opportunities. So
Yeah.
in the system that Pickens had, we were able to highlight him, and he had a strong team around him, and he came through and made plays more often than not. The most talented? No, not by far.
There it is. Cool Cal. You got something to say that ain't been said, or you
Get in
want
there,
to echo?
Cass. School us.
Not for the most part. I mean, I think everybody hit it on the head. To me, I would have gone like Fast said, either with Hines, or I say AJ Green. I think we forgot, man. AJ Green, his probably first 5-6 years in the league for that injury bug started hitting him. He was on pace to probably potentially go to the Hall of Fame. You know, he was having that type of career, that type of impact in the league. And if it wasn't for injuries, we don't know where he would be right now. So when I think about talented, when him and Julio came out that same year, you know, we were kind of, you know, up in the air who was the better player. And those are two of the, you know, more talented guys that we've ever seen. He was 6'4". He could high point the ball. Probably wasn't the fastest guy, but he had everything else in his arsenal as far as being a great receiver. So if I wouldn't go with Hines, I'd definitely go with AJ Green.
Yeah, I'm with y'all, man. When I saw it, I first thought just wide receiver only. I'm like, you can't say that like you say when you got AJ Green. There's no talent characteristic that you could say that George, and I like George Pickens. It is better than what AJ could do. When you say most talented player and wide receiver, now like you say, Hines and Terrence, I'm like, you know, Terrence played quarterback in high school. Like he didn't play wide receiver in high school. Like he came and then he, you know, he's an all-time leading receiver. And like when you talking about route running, catching the ball, hand, I mean, everything encompassing.
Played basketball.
That's how exactly played basketball. So you talking about talent, like it's hard to beat them Edwards boy when you talking about talent. You know,
like what is talent? Like that's the whole problem. You can't.
What is talent?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And then like CA said, man, like I mean, I think people be sleeping and forgetting about my boy Freddie Gibson. Like Fred Gibson was that dude, you know. So I mean, I think hey, Pickens is super talented. He is, but there's a long list of guys you got to get behind.
What my boy from Southwest, CA? What my boy from Southwest? Southwest the Cavs. Wide out. Right there before
like,
you.
Oh, you talking about Hassan Graham, man. It's been too much. It's been too much.
Exactly.
We got track stars and all around athletes at the position. A lot of guys have had a chance to contribute heavily at the wide receiver spot. Shout out to George Pickens, but that question doesn't. That was a trick question. I call bullshit on whoever called that question. I know you, Chad Simmons. I'm calling you, Chad. I'm gonna get at you about that. You know, me, Hines, and Chad played ball together. That's why I'm mad about it. We really grew up together. I'm like, what is Chad Simmons? Come on, Chad.
He done forgot where he came from.
No, he ain't forgot. That was he was throwing something out there.
Hey, sometimes you just need them clicks.
Nah, we love Chad. I'm gonna get at him though.
So sometimes you just need them clicks. We're gonna let JV start out with the next one, man. Listen, they say Carson Beck. This is an NFL draft analyst on ESPN, Jordan Reed. He said he think Carson Beck got the tools and the playmakers around him to be one and done, and he don't see no drop off on this offense. What you think? What are your opinion about and thoughts about Carson Beck's draft opportunities after this season?
Well, number one, I hope this gentleman is 100% right. Because if he right, I'm partying in Houston in January. Listen, man, this guy has been in the system. He's looked good in his time that he's been on the field. He has a ton of talent around him. The cupboard is not bare. I don't think they're going to ask him to do too much that he hasn't already been able to show that he's capable of handling. Can he be one and done? Of course he can. This could be one of the most dynamic offenses that the SEC has ever seen. Now, I make some proclamations, and I don't mind standing on them. I think this is going to be one of the best offenses, top 3 offenses in SEC history, simply because of the line up front, the folks on the outside, and of course you got, 3-time, need to be All-American Brock Bowers patrolling that middle. This guy has an embarrassment of riches. It's all up to him just to be able to get it to him. And with the arm strength that he has, from what, again, we've seen his decision making, while it's been limited, the throws he's able to make, Yeah, because they love a quarterback, a pocket passing quarterback who tears it up with the numbers. They love those types of guys. So yeah, he can be one and done. Now where he goes in the rounds, now that can be up for debate.
Okay. Okay. All right. My boy Mike Mixon, what's going on, Mike? Mike get in and say he's concerned because he said DeJuan Mathis jumped him. He said that, but DeJuan Mathis was a year in the system. He said, and what did he do? What did we made him? Hold on. We did what we could with JT Daniels, only to go back to Stetson while Beck was here through it all. Okay. Hey, fair points, Mike. Fair points. I've always stood on that Carson Beck was the best passer of the bunch, regardless of who was in the room. I don't know if he could grasp. Maybe he couldn't grasp the playbook. We saw him against UAB that 2021 season. He looked like a deer in headlights. But we also got to see him last season, and he looked much more comfortable. So I get you. Cool Cow. They're saying everybody, of course, is Caleb Williams, Drake May, and maybe one or two guys from the Pac-12 at quarterback as your first guys off the board. But they're saying that Carson Beck could be the best of the rest. What's your thoughts?
Okay. Listen, the kid's got an incredible opportunity. You're playing with the most talented team in the country. But I look at it as, I mean, if a guy's been in my program for 4 years, he's had to have developed. You know, we all the other guys besides Stetson, we always kept saying, man, we got all these 4 and 5 star guys. So we know the competition is high. You know what I'm saying? So whoever wins that job, you know, you're sitting in the best driver's seat in America. It's just all about you getting in there and making things happen. I see him having a lot of success this year because first off, Kirby's not going to put it in a position to have him fail. That's the first thing. I think that a couple of years ago, we kind of felt like maybe Kirby didn't quite know what he was doing with the quarterbacks, but we were all wrong about that. So I think if Beck gets in there, he's been in the program now for the last, 4 years. I think it's a great opportunity. I think the kid with his size, his arm strength, I think he's got a great opportunity to potentially even be like a late first-round pick, second-round pick, depending on the type of year that he has.
I got you. And hey, man, you known as our resident quarterback. Listen here, you don't give him no light of day. You tell it like it is, dog. So what you thinking on Carson Beck being the best of the rest, possibly with the season he could have?
Well, like I said, man, I trust in 16. You know what I'm saying? After the last 2 years, like me and CA always said, who am I? You know what I mean? So to kind of piggyback off what Cal said, I mean, you got a kid who's been in the program this long. He's practiced against basically the best defense that you can ever practice against. I mean, my concern would be if he get hurt, if anything. You know what I mean? That would be my concern. But as long as he's healthy, whomever the starter is, this is what people have to understand. I'm just going to be honest with you here. The way that we are built, we can play any kind of football we need to play. So we don't have to put a quarterback in there and put him in harm's way, even if we think or thought that he would be somewhat of, I don't want to say liability, but be the weakest link. We could play the type of football where you would never know that and just throw the ball when you almost have to and need to. And I don't think Bobo will put him in a situation where, his talents wouldn't be able to be shown. So I have no doubt in Carson Beck. And I truly think, once again, with the toys around him, once again, because we can play any style of football you want, he can be one and done. And I hate to say it, I really hope he is. Because that means we're going to have a great season and we won't have such a quarterback log jam.
Hey, for real, man. Like that quarterback log jam get real tight when you talking about trying to keep people out that portal too. Because if he don't, if he has a Jake Fromm-esque year, then he could come back. But if he has a Mac Jones from Bama type year, he could be that one and done guy. Mac Jones set his 4 years and came out there and then broke all kind of records.
That's a good one.
Man.
That's a good one,
Coach. That's what I said. The thing about with Carson Beck, it go back to the question we asked earlier. It was about prospect. This kid is 6'4", great arm, with good athleticism. That's a great prospect,
Yeah.
especially if you in the college playoffs again. You know what I'm saying? At least.
Yeah, that's big time. And like you say, the NFL looks at measurables. So as long as he ain't going out there turning the ball over, which I don't see, I just don't see why he won't be, coming out this year. And I'm like you, I hope he do. Not because I don't want him to stay, but because we got some quarterbacks on the way coming in there. Speaking of, we're gonna talk just a little bit of recruiting. Our guy E-Rob is the resident recruiting analyst type dude. He ain't with us today on some business. We're gonna touch on recruit, man. Speaking of the quarterback position, man, we already know we got two of them in the fold. We got two of them in the fold for 2024, man. Ryan Puglisi and 4-star and Dylan Raiola 5-star. He was the number one recruit overall in the nation. Now, I want to say, depends on what service you look at, 2 or 3, because of the Elite 11 and coming out of there. Julian Sayin is now number 1, but nevertheless, he's still a 5-star. He recently moved to Georgia. He will be attending Buford High School this fall to go along with some of the other guys we recruit, man. And this quarterback thing, man, it's turning around. See, I mean, like, we used to get good quarterbacks. Now we're getting them elite quarterbacks, man. What you think about this quarterback recruiting?
I mean, really, it just mirrors everything else that Kirby is doing on the recruiting trail. He's done a great job building competition at every position, and the quarterback spot hasn't been any different. It really puts us in a position where the portal does become a problem. Just like Thad mentioned, that logjam at quarterback can be an issue if you start losing more than one in any given season. But right now, looking at what he's put in the room, it's just like every other room in Athens. It's full of talent, it's full of heavy competition, and these guys are going to have to hammer it out all throughout camp. So I have no issue with how Kirby recruits. I know these guys are going to have to compete against one another, and that's a part of the recruiting spiel. You don't get anything given to you. You got to come in here and earn your spot and be ready to work for that job. And with these two guys signing in the same class, I'm sure they have a clear understanding of that. Mike Bobo is going into a position where he's going to play the best guy moving forward. Right now, it looks like it's going to be Carson Beck, but the next year is going to be wide open. Why not compete for that spot? So get in here early, get ready, understand the system, and be ready when it's your time. So I like it. No issue with it. It's just like every other room. Be ready to compete.
Some of the guys that used to play down there with their hand in the dirt, JV, man, you see what we've been doing with them big old linemen, dog? Talk about it.
Hey, let me tell you something, man. We are talking about 18-year-old young men who are massive in nature, gargantuan, even. I don't know what you do with somebody who's 18 years old and 6'8", 371 pounds. Like, what do you do with somebody like who is feeding this young man? They got to be on public assistance. They got to be, or at least community plates. They got to be feeding this man by community plates, man. They got to take a trough around to the neighbors and everybody just put in a little something for this man. Man, it's Nair Daniels. Listen, man, we got 4 guys. Nair Daniels is the biggest of them all, 6'8", 371 pounds. We have Michael Uni, 6'7", 335 pounds. We have Daniel Calhoun, 6'6", 365 pounds. And then we pull up with the small guy, Marquise Easley, who's 6'6", 335. 18 years old, gentlemen. Let me let you know what these guys are going to do. They're going to eat defensive linemen for breakfast. These guys are coming in together. They're going to be able to gel. I love what they're doing. I don't think that you would see gentlemen this big going to Georgia who couldn't move. I don't think you would see guys this big going to Georgia that didn't have a tremendous upside to them, because we all know we've seen big guys before and they get whooped like they stole something out the corner store. But these aren't those types of guys. Hey, I'm just impressed. I'm extremely impressed with the recruiting job that we're doing with the O-line, but I'm even more impressed with just the size and the massiveness of these young men. I think it's going to be something to behold, and they get to grow up together. I love that because they preach that togetherness at UGA.
That's right. Cool, Cal. I know you keep up with recruiting too, man. Like, we got 26 commits in 2024 already, and it's July, dog. And we still got spots, by the way.
Right.
What you think about what Kirby doing on this recruiting trail, man?
it's incredible, man. It's all lining up with the production that's on the field. You know, so before that's all we used to talk about. We used to talk about the off season. Look at these guys coming in. It's going to be good, and we can never get it done. But what we're doing off the field is matching up with what we're doing on the field. And if you're a 17, 18-year-old kid, why the hell wouldn't you want to come here? We got an exciting program. We got the best facilities. I mean, you're playing for the best coach in college football right now. They're winning. We even and as much as we talk about the big 4 and 5 star guys we get, we develop the 2 and 3 stars. We have sprinkles of those guys that come in. And what that tells me is there's a specific type of guy that we're trying to recruit. No matter what star you have, we're looking for guys that want to come in here and work and who are dogs and who want to get it done. But something that I was thinking about, I remember last year we did our recruit show. We had a big offensive line class last year as well, where we recruited a lot of big guys. Nothing like we have now, but what it tells me is the number one importance is we want to stay the best in the trenches on both sides of the ball. We want to have the best defensive line. We also want to have the most powerful offensive line out there, and we'll fill it in from there. So I love what Kirby's doing. He's building tough teams year in and year out. And shit, man, it's just a great time to be a dog, man. Let's go.
Hey, man, Stat guy get in here and letting us know. Listen, they already reaching out to 2026 class, 6'4" freshman, 345. He got a UGA offer here recently from a small town, the same one that produced Courtney Brown that played at Penn State, man. Listen,
345 as
a freshman.
Wait a minute, guys. We throwing that around like that was just that's just normal. 345 as a 9th grader.
Bruh, this stuff is getting crazy. Thad, man, you always talk about the Jimmies and the Joes, man. Like, hey, before we won the championship, I know it was hard to I don't want to talk about recruitment, man, until we actually do it on the field. We done it, and now we trying to keep this thing alive, man. Talk about what you think about what Kirby doing on that recruiting trail, man.
Well, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, man. I mean, I don't really have to say much else about it. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. 2 back-to-back national championships. I mean, we've been probably top 5 in the probably last 4 years ranking.
Yeah.
I mean, so he's doing a hell of a job, man. I mean, even when we lose coaches, he's able to bring in, guys who not where we even lose or skip a beat. They come in and do the same type of job they're recruiting. So from top to bottom, I mean, he just had a program humming, man. And to that lineman standpoint, it's going to be very interesting because we are very deep at linemen. And like Nair and Danielle, with their size and being so young, it's going to be interesting to see over the years because I think they're going to have to remake their bodies. Some of these kids come in with a lot of what I would like to call baby fat. So I think a lot of these kids are going to have to remake their bodies. And at some point in time, somebody's going to have to shit and get out the pot because I think 3 of those guys are offensive tackles. 3 of those 5 guys are offensive tackles. So, it'll be interesting to see if everybody stays and everybody's able to get in the rotation. But once again, just to answer your question, Kirby does a great job on recruiting, man. Once again, the proof is in the pudding. We're going for a 3rd straight national championship. And in this particular era, it's unheard of. And we the only one can do it, baby.
That's right, man. And the good thing is, man, they cross-training these dudes. Like our starting left guard now is Xavier Truss. He came in as one of those big guys, and rest in peace, Devin Willock. Also, they both came in as tackles and turned into some really good guards. You know what I'm saying? So, like you say, somebody might have to, get off the pot. But, hey, if they willing to learn, Stacey Searles down there training them all at all the positions. And
having 2 guards, your right and left guard, one is 6'7" and one is 6'6". You're gonna down there have to play in the shotgun or have a 6'4", 6'5" quarterback because you can't see.
Big time. The quarterback that we everybody want right now, Julian Lewis. I want to say he's 6'4.5", so and he real mobile out of Georgia. So I think they take a note of that as well. So, hey, man, the recruiting is hot. That's all it is. It's hot, and it's going to stay hot because Kirby and them do a real good job. And I think one of y'all spoke to it earlier about when I mentioned keeping the coaches on staff, it kind of shows these recruits that not only do you like to play here, go here, be a student here, that you want to return. So there got to be something that we like about the culture and the atmosphere that keeps us returning, man. So, hey, man, shout out to Kirby and the staff and Will Muschamp. Listen, man, Will Muschamp, I rag on the South Carolina fans all the time. They be like, we don't like Will Muschamp. I'm like, well, I'm glad you didn't, because I'm glad he's back in Athens, because he is a recruiting weapon. That dude can recruit like nobody's business, and he's also a defensive genius. So shout out to the Gamecocks. Thank you for that one. But let's move on, man. We're going to give a little player spotlight, man. We want to bring this is how we're going to close the show, man, with a couple player spotlights, man. So we want to let y'all in on some of the guys that don't get to shine like everybody else because they're younger in the program. But you will get to know them, man. First up, man, and Cal, you want to take this first guy, this Julian Humphrey, man. I know, like I said, I know you follow recruiting real well. And Julian Humphrey is a DB here at Georgia, redshirt freshman.
Yeah, so I remember Julian. He's another guy who was really highly recruited. I believe he's out of Texas, I believe, and another very talented guy. But again, we got a lot of dogs back there that we competing with. I'm not really sure where he's falling in the depth chart at this particular point, but I do remember that he is a talented guy, and kind of looking forward to see him getting in the rotation to see what he can do this year.
That's right, man. Listen, he is from Houston, Texas. He is 6'1", 185. At least when he came in, he was 185. I think he's put on some pounds now. So Kirby likes those long, rangy DBs. And Thad, me and you kind of, Thad dropped off on us, but me and Thad been having some talks about track speed and football speed here lately. And Julian Humphrey came in with a 4.38 laser time, 10.55 on the 100, and 21.17 in the 200. So he definitely can get to the ball. To say the least. And he was actually a Florida commit. And then, I want to say he ended up decommitting, and then, it was down to us, LSU, and Texas A&M, and then he chose the Dogs. So right now, we know we got Kamari Lassiter at one corner, and then the other corner is up for grab between Dalen Everett, Julian Humphrey, and A.J. Harris. JV, you got anything on Julian?
Real quick, Coach. Real quick, Coach, while we there. Who do you like to win that battle at that other corner?
JB, you got anything on Julian?
I think Nyland Green. That's the one I was going to add to it. I think Nyland Green may come out on top. I think Dalen Everett is the better tackler of the bunch, but I think AJ he's good. He was, I want to say, the second number 2 corner coming in, but I think the other guys have had a year head start on him to learn the defense. I think really it's Nyland Green and Julian. I think it's going to be a rotation over there, to be honest with you, especially with these first 3 to 4 games we got. UT Martin, UAB, South Carolina, and whoever else we play after them. I think all of them I think coming out of that, we'll really know who it's going to be. But I think Julian Humphrey's got a good chance. But I like Nyland Green because this is Nyland Green's 3rd year in the system. And I think he may be the best cover of all 3 corners.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, JV, you got anything on Mr. Julian Humphrey out of Houston, Texas?
No, man, just, I like his size, definitely love his speed, quick, very quick, fast guy. You haven't seen much of him when it came to, practice or his name being thrown around, but we got a bunch of guys. And so at any point in time, man, I just feel like if you are on this squad and you are still on this squad, you got the potential to be able to step in and make an impact, just because the folks who are behind the folks that are the folks are folks too. And so, I'll love to be able to see what this young man can do if he can win the position, because again, in 16 we trust. So if he gets out there and he's playing at all, and that's the thing that people got to realize, man. Again, you don't have to start at any position on teams like this, teams like Alabama, because if you're taking time and you're out there and you're getting developed by the coaching staff in that weight room and you're at that training table, by the time you get to the NFL, what they're gonna know is that you had the best training, you train better than you do in the league at Georgia, at Alabama. You gone through hard times, practices. I think this young man. I would like to see what this young man can do.
That's right. Before we get live, we got Thad back, man. I want to talk about some of that speed. But before we do, man, just a little bit about him, man, that people might know. The name Humphreys may ring a bell if you follow college football. It started back with Bobby Humphrey at Alabama. Back in the day, he made it to the NFL. And then Bobby Humphrey's son, Marlon Humphrey, who played at Bama, also was a first rounder and still in the league. Those are his relatives, Marlon Humphrey being his cousin. And then his older brothers both played. One went to Arizona State and transferred to Nevada, and the other went to Arizona. His dad also played Division II. So this dude got just athleticism running in his blood, NFL caliber running in his blood. But with that, Thad, before you dropped off, man, I wanted to say, so you know how you and I have been talking about some of this track speed versus football speed and Olympic speed and all this. This dude right here, just talk about these measurables right here. So like I was saying, the guy 6'1", came in at 185. I'm pretty sure he's done put on about 10 pounds, if not more. Dude ran a 4.38 laser 40 in high school, 10.55 in the 100, and a 21.17 in the 200 with a 41-inch vertical. Talk about the measurables. As it pertains, like I say, not maybe the Olympics, but to football.
Now if you want to be honest, coach, I mean that's those other than the vertical, everything else is kind of, I would say, kind of just a damn good athlete.
I got
you know what I'm saying? But they're not in that astronomical kind of, like, you want some, when you're talking about fast, you're talking about 10.2s, 10.3s, 20.9s, 20.7s. I was running like 21.2s and 10.5s and stuff like that. And I consider myself a decent athlete. But the 41-inch vertical, now that's a different kind of explosion. And also for his height, playing that position. I mean, the measurables are awesome now. But if you just want me to just be totally honest and you're just talking about the speed is good, but it's not, something that's just, blowing the clock open.
I got you. And he also had a 20.5 and a half long jump. So like you said, it definitely.
What was the long jump?
20 point, I want to say 20.5 and a half.
Oh, see,
yeah. So
coming out of high school, you need to be jumping 23 and 24 to be kind of like.
I think he probably ran track as a part of, just staying in the grind, staying athletic, increasing that. So, like I say, 41-inch vertical, like you got basketball players that's done made it that ain't got that. So that's jumping right there. As a basketball coach, I can tell you over 40 ain't coming around a lot. I don't care what your height is.
But also, coach, his measurables, his length also make up for whatever shortness he can have in whatever time you want to say he don't have. Because that length is a big deal.
That's right, man. Our next and final player spotlight, man, is tonight. It's going to be Andrew Paul, man. We all got to at least talk about this kid when we talked about the signing class. I think a couple of y'all went to some to G Day and maybe even fall practice and got to see this guy before he got hurt, man. Andrew Paul is also out of Texas. Hey, Kirby been in Texas a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And now he has been cleared from his ACL injury. I know, CA, you got to see him in person in the stadium, and you was looking forward to seeing a little bit more of him. But what you think about this guy, Andrew Paul, man?
A big running back. He's listed at 5'11", a little over 215, and he looks a lot bigger. So I'm anxious to see what he can contribute, because when we had a chance to go down and watch him in Athens, he looked good, and by that I mean he looked explosive. He looked to be ahead of Branson Robinson at that time. So I'm anxious to see what his bounce back looks like as far as coming off this injury and being a supporting cast member in this backfield, because there are plenty of carries to go around. Again, you mentioned coming out of Dallas, Texas. He knows competition. He understands what it's like to, face stiff rivals in your same backfield. So I'm anxious to see how he comes out of training camp. What is his health like? I feel like the tools are there, and him being a little over a year or so removed from the injury, this is a perfect time for him to come out of that, who are you shell. He's got to identify himself, because to be honest with you, he's at a crux. If he can't identify who he is this season, he can easily be in the portal. Not that I want that to happen, but we always are going to continue to recruit this position heavily, and we never recruit less than a 4-star. So I mean that door swings consistently. I'm hoping that his recovery is on par with the schedule, and I look forward to seeing what he can contribute, because as a big back, we just mentioned all these big offensive linemen. There's nothing better than a big back running behind big linemen. A smaller back can be shifty, maybe exploit a crease, but a big back will lay in between them guys all night long. He'll keep 30-something carries, and he can punish the defense. And I'd love to see him take that challenge in the SEC.
That's right, man. Hey, listen, I want to give a shout out to Kirby Towns. What's going on, Kirby, man? Been a long time.
What's up, KT?
Glad to see you back in here, man. He said lots of reps going around for the younger DBs the first few games. That's right. With Julian Humphreys being in that mix. But back to Andrew Paul, cool cow, man. Just to listen, this dude right here, man, only had an offer going into December his senior year. Now, after football season, I mean, into the playoffs, he only had an offer from Texas State. That's it. And then in the playoffs, dude went for 323 on the ground, 343 on the ground, 404 on the ground, 16 touchdowns. And then he had offers from Michigan, Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame. So they all started pouring in, man. I know, like I say, we kind of touched on the dude. Like, if this dude can be healthy, man, what you think he can do in Athens, man?
Oh, I mean, the sky's the limit if he's healthy. That's the one thing about it. Whoever steps out on the field, it doesn't matter what the name is on your jersey. I know you've gone through a dogfight. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't come to Georgia, especially at this particular juncture, and whatever credentials you may have had in the past get you on the field today. So whoever wins out that job, whoever's in that rotation, I know that they've had to work their ass off. From some of the things that I saw in some of his high school tape, I mean, I was very impressed with how he ran. Breaks a lot of tackles, shows a lot of good balance, strength. So it's going to be hard to get on the field. We got a lot of backs. He's coming off of an ACL injury, so you never know how those things may go as far as how much time it's going to take for him to ramp up. It may be 2-3 months down the line. But shit, we got other running backs that have come in. We got last year running backs that you got to compete with. So it'll be interesting to see how healthy he gets later in the season. Generally with running backs, you may have a running back or two who may get nicked up a little bit. So he may be in place on down the stretch where he may be able to get some more touches and really can be able to contribute for us this year.
That's right. Kirby said he was sitting with Shaw NCAA when y'all was watching him, and until he went down, he was looking impressive. So, hey, shout out to my son, Blurble Videos. He is a gamer and a video editor. He has his own YouTube channel now, Blurble
I like
Videos.
that.
So,
all right.
Hey,
Tell
y'all
him
go check.
I need editing on my own, so tell him I need it.
So y'all go check out Coach I Jr. on Blurble Videos, man.
He said he gonna chime in real quick. Wait a minute, my daddy show.
That's right.
I respect that. Do your thing, young man.
On either one of these player profiles, JV, you got anything on Julian Humphrey or Andrew Paul that you might want to get in there?
Man, nah, I just when you put up the player profiles of those two guys, man, when I went to check out Andrew Paul, man, I was looking at him run, and he was reminding me of somebody. And the more I watched him, the more he reminded me of Sean Alexander, the running back that came out of Alabama. Played at they played with Seattle for years. Just that running style, that kind of high knee, lean forward lean, the way he carried the ball. I like his feet. Even in some of the videos they were talking about, he didn't have that much of a straightaway speed, but he got real good speed, and he right now 5'11", 218. So I think that I did like him before he got hurt. I like what I saw about him from him on tape. So hey, look, I'm looking forward to seeing anybody do their thing behind that line who gonna hold on to the ball. Hold on to the ball, young man. Get yourself together. Let's see what you can do out here, because it's gonna be a long season for us and a lot of reps to be gotten by people who normally wouldn't get reps this season.
That's right, man. It will be a lot of reps again. And we got Ron Corson on the job, man. As far as his injury is concerned, we know what Ron Corson can do with those ACL injuries, man. But just to speak to the kid's toughness, man, I found a little fun fact, man. His senior year, right before the district championship, man, the dude was in a car accident. A tree fell on his car and totaled the car. He later on ran for 400 yards like 2 days later. So I don't know if he was, it didn't say if he had got hurt or not. All I know is he was in a wreck that totaled his car. And then the dude turned out 400 plus yards rushing. He had 2,616 yards on his senior season alone, man. This dude
41 TDs. 41 TDs, man. That's some Todd Gurley.
That's a grown man. That's a grown man.
So shout out to Andrew Paul, man, and shout out to Julian Humphreys with a chance to get on the field this year, and we're going to see what you're going to do. Listen, all Kirby can do is provide the opportunity and see if you can go out there and take it. So there it is, man. Listen, season 3, respect the Hedges. We off and running. We got a lot of good stuff coming up for y'all this season, man. We got some big announcements coming down the pike, possibly. And make sure you tune in every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, man. Hey, get in them comments, man. Let us know what's going on, what you think, what you want to know about. I do want to say shout out to Jemiah McCord, man. He put in the stat here, says it's way off topic, but he wanted to get in. And he said, interesting stat line he saw. He said, Georgia rushing touchdowns allowed since 2019. In 2019, we gave up 2. 2020, we gave up 8. 2021, we gave up 3. 2022, we gave up 7 for a total of 20. We have not allowed 10 or more rushing touchdowns since 2018 compared to other teams who are at the top in defense, such as Michigan, giving up a total of 55 over the same time span. Alabama, 48. Clemson, 37. Bruh, that's like crazy.
Either
like
you elite or you ain't.
Hey, you ain't.
That is
That's
crazy.
what it is, man. So, hey, man, shout out to all our Respect the Hedges community, the Dog Nation. Hey,
Shout out to our co-host Hina. She's supposed to have been in here tonight.
Yeah. We're gonna announce her right. She's on a flight right now, so we got a couple of people we're gonna introduce that's coming into the Respect the Hedges family, man. And y'all make sure y'all keep rocking with us. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, man. You hit the bell notification, then you never get to miss the show, man. It always notify you. But as always, y'all gonna have to respect them Hedges and go Dogs.
And we out.